فترى القلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته. اللهم اعف صلة سلواتك وسلامة تسليماتك على أفضل التعينات المفاضة من العماء رباني، وآخر التنزلات المضافة إلى نوع الإنساني. كان الله ولم يكن معه شيء ثاني، محصي لعوالم حضرات القامس في وجوده، وكل شيء أحسيناه في إمام المبين. الرسول النبي المكي المدني الخرشي التحامي، صاحب لواء الحمد ومقام المحمود أبي القاسم محمد الحميد. صل على محمد وعلى أخيه وابن عمه وخليفته من بعده وقائد الغر المحجلين، ياسوب الدين، إمام المتقين، أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ابنته الطاهرة الحوراء العنسية الراضية المرضية الشفية يوم الجزاء، فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآله. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. We all thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for inspiring us and giving us the tawfiq of commemorating the martyrdom of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And the reward only lies with Allah. We cannot even comprehend the efforts that we are putting in, especially in the community, to grow the community, to establish the community, to strengthen the community, to ensure that the roots of this community are well grounded in upright objectives of attaining Islamic values and giving those values to our children. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So my dear brothers and sisters, we had been discussing the topic of Shajare Tayyaba and Shajare Mal'una, Shajare Qabisa, the good tree and the bad tree that has been referred as Shajare Tayyaba and Shajare Qabisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself cites this example to show what is Kalima Tayyaba, the good word. And we had been talking about how Tawheed is that good word, and if our Tawheed is well grounded and it is connected to the trunk and the branches of Imama and the Wilaya, then we shall ensure that we are intact and the fruit of this tree would not be corrupted. Yesterday I talked about also how this chain is connected. If you recall, I used the example of blockchain that is being used as currency. I was surprised the brothers did not ask for Bitcoin as donation. Bitcoin is becoming very, and there are other options that are also coming other than Bitcoin. I think some of you might have Bitcoin, and I heard each Bitcoin is worth about $700. So this connectivity with the roots and well grounded and being firm is very, very important. And when you are doing fundraising, obviously, I'm tempted to cite a story that Ayatollah Mohsin Khara'ati, he stated when he was once in our school, when I was in the seminary. He said he had a friend who said that I'm going to invite you to my home, and when you come to my home, you have to listen to my instruction and do exactly what I say. And if you don't do so, you have not really served me as a friend. So Agha Kharati says, I visited him in Tehran, and when I got there, he came to me and he welcomed me, got me inside, and then he told me, can you do me a favor? He brought a rope and he said, can you do me a favor? He said, what is it? He said, can you tie my hands to a pillar? I said, what are you talking about? In your home, you want me to tie your hands? He said, I have taken a promise from you. You're going to listen to me. You need to do this for me. So he said, okay. He ties him to the pillar and says, make sure it's very, very tight. And he makes it very, very tight. And then he says that, can you go there? That is, my safe, and the key is here, and make sure you open the safe, and the money is lying there. Take it and run before I open the rope and go after you. So Agha Kharati actually did this. Why? Because the whispering of shaitan would stop us from doing the righteous work. And he wanted to pay the dues that Islam demands from us, but his soul or his nafs was enticing and whispering him not to do. So he brought Agha Kharati, made sure that his hands were tied, and while his hands were tied, he gave the keys to the safe, he took the money and left as quickly as he could. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The point is, don't let those whispers hold you off. If those whispers are telling, you know what, I can go home, go to the website, and then, write a check online, you can use a bill pay, I can do this and I can do that, just go there. The brothers are still having that credit card thing. They can do it right away. You leave from here, shaitan will overpower the discourse and say, oh, you can do it next year. I think they got 50%, so they can manage. It's not, what if one person cannot give it, it's not going to make a huge difference. And on the other side, I was amazed. Last Arba'in, I had the honor of going to Arba'in to Karbala, and one of my host, I was not with a group. I had an Iraqi host who was also a student of seminary. May Allah bless him. And this person is also a good businessman, so he took a very good care of us. And he cited me, a practical situation that his family was going through. He told me that I have a brother-in-law who is a taxi driver, although this person was pretty well off. And he said that he has a mokib, he has a place where he serves the zawar when they are walking towards the shrine of Imam Hussein, and he does this every year, and they're about for 2 days, and these zawar, they come from Basra, and for 2 days he serves about 900 people, so it's like serving food for 1800 people for 2 days. So it requires quite a bit of money. So I asked him, are you going to do it this year? He said, no, I'm a taxi driver, and this year things were not good and I don't have the money. I don't know if I would be able to do that or not. And then I heard from my mother-in-law that he is having this mokib this year. And I said, how come? He said he did not have money. How is he doing this? So I called him up and said, was the arrangement of the money done? He said, yeah, it was done. I said, how did you arrange the money? You said you didn't have the money. He said, I sold my taxi to serve the zawar of Imam Hussein. The only means of sustenance that he had, he sold it so he could serve the zawar of Imam Hussein. But the But even more important so, my dear brothers and sisters, is to know what this brother said to me. He said, Brother Mahdi, you know what? Allah has given me. I can help him. I can support him. But I don't want to do that. And you know why? Because I know when Hussein is going to help, it is going to be exponential help. This is the aspiration and reliance we have on Ahlul Bayt, my dear brothers and sisters. And there are many stories, So I just wanted to make sure that you take this opportunity. Allah has given this opportunity, that you are growing, and ensure that you benefit and your children's benefit and your generations to come benefit, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So today, already it's late, so I'm going to go very, very quickly. As you are aware of my topic, that we are discussing tracing the footsteps of the leader of martyrs, which is Imam Hussein. So today I want to focus on one aspiration Imam Hussein had in Karbala, which he wrote to his brother Muhammad Hanafiya in his wasiya, in his will, why he is there in Karbala. And he says to his brother in the letter that my uprising, my rising up is not for power, it is not for corruption. And then he starts defining his goal, mission statement. We all, those of you who work in industry, you need to not only have a mission statement with ISO 9000 audits, you need to even memorize the mission statement. So, mission statement. What was the mission statement of Imam Hussein when he was going towards Karbala? The Imam says, "Uridu an a'mura bil ma'ruf wa anha anil munkar." I desire to perform, conduct amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar. We need to remember, my dear brothers and sisters, and memorize Islamic terminology. Islamic terminology is very, very important. I could just barely use the English equivalent, but I tend to use Islamic terms because I have heard from scholars seeing that we need to enrich English language with Islamic vocabulary. We cannot rely on English vocabulary that came from the Christian era. For example, faith. When in Christianity we are talking about faith, it is blind faith. When we are talking about Iman in Islam is not blind. Iman in Islam comes with rationale. Iman in Islam is not static. Iman in Islam is dynamic. It has states and phases. So likewise, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. What is Amr bil Ma'ruf? Amr bil Ma'ruf is to invite others towards good. Nahi Anil Munkar is to refrain others from doing bad. And this is part of our branches of our religion. If we believe in Usul-e-Din, in Furu-e-Din comprises of 10 actions, one of them being Salat and Saum and Jihad and Zakat and Khums, there is Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Inviting others towards good and refraining others from doing bad. Imam Hussein says that why am I doing this? Because I desire to implement Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. There's a different sermon of Imam Hussein in Mina. In Mina, that Imam Hussein gave in front of the companions of the Holy Prophet and scholars on the same subject, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Imam Hussein does not say that anything else needed to be reformed. Imam Hussein does not say, I want to enforce and implement Salat, I want to enforce and implement Jihad, I want to enforce and implement Zakat. No, Imam Hussein says that I desire to enforce and implement Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. If a society is enforced with Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, everything else come with it. In Farsi there is an example they always use. If you have 100, that means 99 is already there, because you cannot get to 100 unless you have 99. So you focus on 100. So likewise, if we can enforce, implement Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, the society would have everything else. It would have Salah, it would have Saum. Salah is worshipping Allah, Saum is fasting in the way of Allah, pilgrimage is Hajj. All these things would come if Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar is enforced. However, it cannot be done at our own will, at our own desire, with our own perspective. It has a criteria. Salat has a criteria. Can you pray tomorrow's Fajr Salat right now? You cannot. The time of Fajr has to enter and then you will pray Fajr Salat. Can you do Hajj in any other month than Zil Hijjah? You cannot. You have to be in the month of Zil Hijjah to perform Hajj. Can you do Saum, fasting, Wajib fasting, I'm talking about the month of Ramadan? No, it has to be the month of Ramadan. You can fast Mustahab fast, you can fast the other fast of Nazr, meaning that you have asked Allah, if this thing has been done, oh Allah, I am going to fast. That is the fast of Nazr. But the fast that Allah has prescribed in the holy month of Ramadan can only be done in the holy month of Ramadan in its appropriate time. Hajj has to be done in its appropriate place and time. You cannot do Hajj here in the month of Zil Hijjah. You have to go to Hijaz to do Hajj. You have to go there. Likewise, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar also have time and place. Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar has context. And all these things have to be taken into account. Now, why it has to be done? Let me share a hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa that Amir al-Mu'mineen says, "I'tabaru ayyuhan nas bima wa'azallah bihi awliya'ahu min su." O people, know about this, how Allah had advised and warned about those people who had affinity to sin in the Holy Quran. And he cites the verse of Holy Quran, لَوْلَا يَنْهَاهُمُ الرَّبَّانِيُّونَ وَالْأَحْبَارُ عَنْ قَوْلِهِمُ الْإِثْمِ. Why do the scholars and rabbis not forbid their sinful talk? Chapter 5 verse 63. لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ. Quran is saying that the faithless among the children of Bani Israel were cursed on the tongue of Hazrat Dawood and Hazrat Isa, Jesus, son of Mary, that because they would disobey and they used to commit transgression. The scholars, the rabbis and the scholars, they would lie, they would commit transgression, and what would they do? Why do the rabbis and scholars do not forbid from sinful talk? Quran is saying, why don't they do this? They are supposed to do it and they are not doing it. Today also, if you look at, evangelical or other churches here in America, even the whole narrative of religiosity in America is changing into prosperity preaching. Prosperity preaching is all about just showing sabz bagh, they say, green gardens. It is all about giving you only positive. Please do not want anything, bad consequences. Everything is good. Whatever you do, be a good person in your heart. Everything is okay. Whatever you go. So this prosperity preaching is showing that the scholars are shying away from warning them of the consequences of their actions after this world, in afterlife. But Rasulullah had been introduced by Quran as Bashir and Nazir. Bashir means the one who brings good news, and Nazir means the one who is a warner. He warns from the chastisement of the fire of hell. So here Quran is talking about this. Kanu la yatanahawna an munkar fa'aluhu la bi'sa ma kanu yaf'alun. What do these Rabbaniyun, what do these scholars of the other Abrahamic faiths do, Quran is saying, they would not forbid one another from the wrongs that they committed. These are the verses of Holy Quran, my dear brothers and sisters. I am plainly translating the verses of Holy Quran. What would the scholars of Yahud and Nasara do? Quran is saying they would not forbid one another from the wrong they committed. And Quran is saying surely evil is what they had been doing. So what happened in Masihiyat? What happened in Christianity and Judaism as far as Islam is concerned? We find that the scholars became corrupt. The scholars cared more about their dunya than the message that was brought by Moses and Jesus. They were more interested in their own interest, and as a result of which they were not willing to warn one another and stop one another from doing wrong. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, if you go into the tafsir, it talks about why they were doing it. Why? Because two things. Losing out on worldly gains. You know, if a scholar thinks, if I do Amr bil Maruf and Nahi Anil Munkar to the person who comes into my congregation, this person might get upset and stop writing those fat checks he writes. Wow, what is going to happen? How am I going to run my church? How am I going to run my congregation? I should be very, very concerned. So, okay, whatever he's doing, I would look on the other side. I would not even discuss. Here in California, right here in California, in Bakersfield, I have been there, and there's a mosque in Bakersfield. If you go there, very beautifully built mosque. And there was only one guy who I knew, and I met him, and he's the guy everybody has problem with, but they think this guy was half, he was like Bahlul, if you know who was Bahlul. He was, he was somebody, not properly in his normal senses. And when I went there, they would say, can you tell this guy to just calm down and be relaxed? Because I knew him from before. And I said, oh, why not? I mean, and I told him, you live in the mosque, and why can't you just calm down and do so? He said, what? How can I calm down? These guys are making this mosque. I said, yeah, so you are also living here. You are benefiting from this mosque. He said, do you know what these guys do? And when I tell them, they get really upset. These are all liquor stores owners of this city, and they have a mosque. They sell liquor, and when they come, I say, this is haram, brother. You need to change your business, and they don't like it. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is a real problem in society, and how other nations have been corrupted. If Islam and Muslims abandon Amr bil Maruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, that would be our fate. And therefore, Imam Hussein is saying that my movement that I have, it is to establish Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, what is Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar? It is an invitation to Islam, consolidation of Allah's commands, rejection of disobedience and rebellion against Allah, reforming the society, and progress the society towards a spiritual journey towards Tawheed. Ya ayyuhan nas antumul fuqara ila Allah. Quran says, O people, you are needy of Allah. Allah does not need you. Rejection of oppression and zulm. These are all the aspirations of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. However, it is done in stages. Now we need to know how it is done. Because now if everybody stands up for Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, not knowing the circumstances, it's just like, if I start, stand up right now and try to pray Salatul Fajr, you will say, brother, what are you doing? Don't you know the ruling? When the Fajr time comes, you need to pray at that time. You can pray Khaza that has already been passed, but you cannot pray the one that has not come yet. you know. So you have to know the timings. You have to know the circumstances. Amr bil Maruf and Nahi anil Munkar, inviting others towards good and forbidding others from doing bad, is not venting your own anger, not venting your own frustration over other people and then justify, oh, I was doing Amr bil Maruf and Nahi anil Munkar. No, brother, no, sister, you have done more harm than good. You cannot do that. Allah does not give you that permission. So now let us see from Amirul Mu'mineen that he talks about how there are maratib, how there are stages of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. He says, O believers, I'm skipping the Arabic text so that I can go faster. O believers, those who see the excesses and oppression committed in society and people are being invited towards falsehood and wrongful, then reject them with their heart, had truly protected and they are free. Imam Ali saying, those people who see oppression and zulm outside, what did they do? They saw that people were being invited towards bad, towards falsehood. What did they do? They rejected that message in their hearts. They did it only for themselves. Imam is saying then that person is safe, that person is protected. However, whoever rejects it with his words will certainly be rewarded, and it is better than the first. So not only you reject that zulm, that oppression in your heart, but also you reject it with your words. And Imam is saying that it is better from the first one. This is the next stage. And the third stage, the Imam says, and whoever rejects it with resistance to prevail the word of Allah as being highest and the word of sufla or wrongful as lowest, that is the person who had attained the path of guidance. Imam Ali saying that the third stage is of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar is that not only you reject what is wrong in your heart, but you use your words to go against it, and now you resist by all means possible that you have, and then ensure that the word of Allah prevails. Kalimatullah prevails and kalimatul sufla is degraded. You expose what is good and what is bad. Look into the current context, how nasty the presidential candidate for Republicans was until yesterday. And now suddenly you are seeing him in different tone and different color being apologetic. Till now, I don't think he was apologetic in any words or any actions. You see how falsehood was being promoted. Everybody was promoting that sort of falsehood. Now, what the hadith is saying is that we reject, we resist, and we ensure truth prevails. We work hard enough for truth to prevail, not only with our words, but with our actions, so that truth prevails and falsehood is exposed. If we have done that, Imam Ali is saying, then that person has attained the path of guidance and he is steadfast on it, while his heart had been enlightened with yaqeen, with certitude. He had attained certitude. This is the outcome. Now this is the third stage, my dear brothers and sisters. In whichever stage we are. That's why we say even in Ziyarat-e-Warisa, La'anallahu ummatan sami'at bizalika faradiyat bih. That may Allah curse be upon those who heard about the tragedy and did nothing, as if they had approved it. They had approved the action that was taken by Yazid and Ibn Ziyad. They heard and they did do nothing. At least they could have rejected it in their hearts. They could have rejected it in their hearts and with their words. They could have rejected it in their hearts, with their words and with their actions. These are the stages of Amr bil Ma'ruf. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Amr bil Ma'ruf requires it has three preconditions for doing Amr bil Ma'ruf. Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar, inviting people towards good and forbidding people from bad, has preconditions. If you go to Hajj, the oppressive regime in Hijaz, they have this committee of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. Go and look how they behave and look at the tone, how they engage with Hujjaj who have spent so much money and who came with so much of passion and love for Rasulullah and for Allah, to the house of Allah and to the shrine of Rasulullah. The preconditions are understanding of the people. If you want to do Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar, you need to know your audience. You cannot just haphazard randomly go in and say and speak your mind and say, oh, I did Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. I don't care if they got upset. No, my dear brothers and sisters, this is not how Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar is done. You need to understand the psyche of people. Then you have to have the extent of knowledge that is required to engage in a conversation that would be convincing to perform Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. The third one is varying emotional states of a society or individual. You are aware of the varying emotional states of a society and the individual. For example, after 9/11, suddenly how things changed in this country. Or let me forget about 9/11. I'll talk about Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali passed away, there was a wave of, a discourse of a Muslim American who had contributed with virtue in this society. But it did not last too long. Because of that terrorist attack, I think it was the one in France, suddenly everything stopped. Then nobody was talking about Muhammad Ali. Nobody was talking about Islam. It was only terrorism. At that point, if you would bring about and talk about how Muslims are good, how Muslims are paying taxes, how Muslims are doing this, they are doing that, that would not work because of the polarization and the hatred and the Islamophobia that was created by that terrorist attack. As if all Muslims are part of it. When we all reject as believers of Quran, as believers of Islam, as believers of Rasulullah. So knowing the emotional state of a society is very, very important. Understanding the people whom you are addressing, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar, is very, very important. And you need to have that vastness in your knowledge to encompass the discourse that you are going to undertake. If you don't do, you are not eligible to do Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. Look at the seerah of Amirul Mu'mineen. You can never show me a sermon of Imam Ali alayhi salam that he gave during the life of the Holy Prophet. Why is it so? Did you contemplate on that? That Imam Ali, you have seen all these sermons in Nahjul Balagha, none of them where the Prophet of Allah is sitting and the Imam Ali is giving sermon. Why is it so? Because the Hujjatullah, who has the duty and who has the power, who has been divinely appointed for that task, is Rasulullah at that time. Likewise, when Imam Hassan is alive, you will not find Imam Hussein going places and giving sermons. Why? Because Imam Hassan is the representative of Allah upon earth. He is the inheritor of the prophetic knowledge, and he is going to respond. Imam Hussein is going to keep quiet. And when the turn of Imam Hussein comes, that's when he does. And when the Imam Hussein is doing, you don't find Imam Sajjad doing that. So you find this. There are maratib, there are times, and the duty has been prescribed to those who are ahl, those who are appointed, not to everybody. And that is the reason Imam Hussein had stood up. No other person had stood up. Imam Hussein had stood up to do Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, knowing the consequences of his uprising. Knowing the consequences, he took his family along with him, knowingly, because this had to be established so that Islam is not corrupted. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If my word is reaching all of you, and if you want me to continue this discussion, I need a loud salawat. Our sixth Imam, thank you brothers and sisters, our sixth Imam was asked about Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. The person asked the Imam, is it obligatory, is it wajib? Obligatory is wajib upon the whole ummah, upon the whole nation of Muslims to perform Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. The Imam says, no, it is not wajib on everybody. Don't take the fiqhi wujub in this hadith, okay? In our furu'e-deen, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar is wajib on each one of us, in the capacity, in the ability that we possess. But this hadith is pointing towards a different point, where the Imam says it is not wajib on everyone to do Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Then who is it wajib upon, ya Imam? The Imam says it is only for those who are strong, whose convictions are strong, and who are influential, meaning that they can influence the change. They can become the catalyst of change, who has the ability to implement that change, who has the ability to implement that goodness that they are trying to bring in. And it is upon them who are obeyed. These are the people who should be obeyed. If they don't have any audience who's not willing to listen, they cannot, speak to the wall and say, I'm doing Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Go to hell. I don't care whether you listen or not. I am going. You cannot say that. They are willing to obey. Your audience have to have the will to obey what you are saying. And you have to have the capacity to influence them. And you have the knowledge, and you are informed in both inviting towards good and forbidding from bad. You are not mixing good and bad together, and you are not yourself confused like communism became confused and broke open after 70 years. Not like that. You need to have clarity in your vision for Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. If that is the case, they are the ones who have this duty, and it is obligatory upon them, not on every one of us. Those are the ones who has the duty. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The Imam says it is not those who are weak. It is not for those who are weak. It is not for those who cannot guide to the path nor differentiate one from the other. I have this joke, my Pakistani friends, when I was in university, they shared with me, because there is this tussle of Indian, Pakistani, so when we get together, we joke about each other. So he said that, there is this joke about a person from a certain background in Pakistani society was a soldier on the border, and he was able to get hold of a Sardarji, the Sikhs on the Indian side, and pointed his gun. He said, now you have to become Muslim, because I'm telling you. He said, no, I'm a Sikh. He says, no, you have to become Muslim, otherwise I'm going to shoot you. So he said, okay, I'm sorry, I will become Muslim. So tell me, what should I do for being Muslim? And then this person says, well, I want you to make Muslim, but I even don't know how do you become a Muslim. So if the person does not have a capacity himself, he does not have the clarity, how can he influence other people? See the consequences of doing this? In fact, this is unfortunate. And I have, in some of the sermons of our other brothers, I have heard this, that they were rulers and ashab of Prophet. They would sit on the donkey and go to cities and states and say, either you become Muslim or get ready for cutting off your head. And they became very scared and they became Muslim. Where did all those Muslims go? All those Muslims that became in Europe, where did they all go? Because it was not done on the basis of the ability and the knowledge and the rationale that was required. It was done with the point of a sword. That is not Amr bil Maruf and that is not Nahi anil Munkar. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And the weak, Imam is saying that the weak do not have this as a duty, especially if they cannot guide to the path, nor can they differentiate one from the other, from truth to falsehood. And the proof lies, now the Imam is asserting this point through Quranic proof. The Imam says the proof lies in the verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does Allah says in this verse? وَلْتَكُمْ Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The verse is saying there has to be a nation among you summoning to good and bidding what is right and forbidding what is wrong. It is they who are fallacious. There has to be a nation amongst you. The verse of Holy Quran is referring to a category of people within Islam to have this duty of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. And the Imam is asserting his point by showing that Amr bil Ma'ruf can be done by those who are strong, those who are influential, those who have the ability to enforce, and those who are obeyed. Amr bil Ma'ruf is not for those people who are weak, who do not have clarity, who are not sound in their judgment. That is not for them. So we need to recognize where we stand. When we talk about Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar, we need to recognize, although it is the most important duty that Islam prescribes to us, we need to know where we stand. And there would be times, in fact most of the times, our Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar would be better not saying something. That would be better. We need to make sure that those who are having that ability, they can come forward. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, I'm trying to wrap up my talk. How to do it? How to do Amr al-Maruf and Nahi al-Munkar? Let me give you one or two very quick examples. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, the brother of Amirul Mu'mineen, when he was sent by Rasulullah to Ethiopia, to the ruler of Najashi, the Christian king. There is an extensive story about it. You can go and read it. The Prophet of Allah trained Hazrat Ja'far, and then he sent him. And when Hazrat Ja'far, who became Ja'far-e-Tayyar later, went to Najashi, the way he introduced Islam was so beautiful. When the Quraysh had sent their representative so that the Muslims can be arrested and taken back, and the Quraysh brought lots of gifts to this Christian ruler so that he would give this favor of handing over Muslims so they can be taken back to Arabia and punished. The character, how Hazrat Jafar Tayyar had presented. The accusations that the Quraysh were giving, that they were saying they do not believe, these Muslims, they do not believe Jesus, they do not believe in Trinity, they do not believe in that. And Hazrat Jafar Tayyar started reciting the verses of Suratul Maryam in Holy Quran, which talks about the sanctity, the purity, and the infallibility of Hazrat Isa, Jesus, and also his mother. And how Jesus spoke in the cradle. Inni Abdullah atani al-kitab ja'alani nabiyya. Quran talks about all this. And when Najashi heard, he said, what are you talking about? Get lost. I'm going to keep them. And Najashi said that Jafar and your whole companions, all of them can stay as long as they want here with security and safety. This was done because Hazrat Jafar was trained appropriately in Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar, whereas those who came after the Prophet, Shahid Mutahari says this, whereas those who came after the Prophet, they were not trained. The focus of the Muslim world was not on spiritual training. It was only in accession and expanding of Muslim land, as a result of which people came with sincerity, but they turned into Khawarij. They turned into those people who did everything against Islam, while in their outward look, they looked very, very Muslim. They used to recite Quran, they used to fast, and their foreheads looked like the knees of the camels. That is how rough their foreheads had become due to prostration and due to salat. This is how pious in their outward self they were, but they did not possess the clear understanding. Let me give you one example of these Khawarij, my dear brothers and sisters. Sisters are also here, that when they annexed Khurasan, it was told that the governor of Khurasan, who was there before them, had a beautiful wife. So now, after killing the governor, they go, and now these Khawarij are fighting one over the other, who is going to take this wife of the governor as their wife. First of all, they cannot do it, it is haram. And then, now they are fighting amongst each other, and the wife of the governor was on her full pregnancy at that time. This is written in Tabari. This is Tabari, which is translated. There are 40 volumes, history of Tabari, from our brothers of Ahl Sunnah, and it states this story of Khawarij inside of it. It says that one of the Khawarij, the leader of the Khawarij, you know what did he do? He saw that there is fitna amongst believers. They call themselves believers. He said there is a fitna amongst the believers over this woman. So how can we solve this fitna? He drew his sword and poked his sword in the stomach of that woman, killing the woman and also the child that was in the womb of the woman, saying this woman is fitna, causing fitna amongst the believers. This is the mentality, my dear brothers and sisters. This is the mentality of Khawarij that has been recorded in history, who did not have the clarity and the right convictions and the right knowledge of their religion. And you can see it even today. So having all those aspects is very, very important. Otherwise we can do more harm than good to Islam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When you go and look into Quran, how Quran deals with it. Quran is talking about the story of Hazrat Moses. Quran commands Hazrat Musa, Allah commands Hazrat Musa, Izhab anta wa akhuka bi ayati wa la taniya fi zikri. Quran is saying that go, O Moses, go along with your brother and with my signs, and do not procrastinate in my remembrance. Go towards Fir'aun. Izhab ila Fir'aun innahu tagha. Go towards Fir'aun because he has rebelled. So Hazrat Musa is being commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go and perform Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Who is Musa? Musa, one person, and the other person is Harun, his brother. Two people against a nation, against a tyrant, against a king who was so powerful that he could sentence death like anything. And Allah is saying, go to him, go to Pharaoh, because he has rebelled. Now when you go to Pharaoh, how are you going to conduct yourself? The verse following it says, فَخُولَ لَهُ خَوْلًا لَيَّنًا. O Musa, speak to him in a soft manner. Musa is alone, going towards a tyrant ruler. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching the etiquette of conduct of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar to Musa, saying, Pharaoh is a tyrant, fine, but you are my representative. Make sure that your words and your manners are soft. Can you see, my dear brothers and sisters, how Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar is implemented in Quran, how it is implemented by prophets, how it is implemented by the companions of the Holy Prophet. This is how Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar is implemented. I would continue my discussion, my dear brothers and sisters. Because of the shortness of time, we would go towards Masayib, and as you are aware, we are going to commemorate the martyrdom of the beloved Ali Akbar, the son of Imam Hussein. You all are aware how Imam Hussein loved Ali Akbar. How to Imam Hussein, Ali Akbar was dear to him. Because Ali Akbar had those traits that the Prophet of Allah had. In fact, the narration says that people in Medina, when Ali Akbar would leave his home and would walk in the streets of Medina, people would see and people would go just to make sure they can do the ziyarah of Rasulullah, because Ali Akbar resembled in Rasulullah so much. My dear brothers and sisters, we are getting closer to Ashura. We did not have the tawfiq of doing Aza of Imam Hussein as we should be doing, the mourning that we should be doing. And you are aware that this journey that we are undertaking of traveling to Karbala towards Imam Hussein, because we say in the ziyarah, Ya laytana kunna ma'akum fafuza ma'akum. Oh Hussein, we wish that we were along with you so that we could also be successful in the endeavor that you had taken along with your companions. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein is arriving into Karbala, and Ali Akbar sees that his father is reciting Kalama Istirja, Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un, the words that talks about that we belong to Allah and we return to Allah. This sentence is uttered amongst Arabs when there is some calamity, when there is some death that is bound to occur, or it has already occurred. Ali Akbar asked his father, Oh my beloved father, what is the reason of you reciting Kalama Istirja? Why are you saying Inna Lillah wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un? Why are you saying that we return to Allah, we belong to Allah and we return to Him? Imam Hussein says, Oh Ali Akbar, the journey is going to end with death. The journey that we have undertaken, it is going to end with death. And Ali Akbar asked Imam Hussein, Oh my beloved father, alasna ala al-haq, oh my dear father, aren't we on the path of righteousness? Imam Hussein says, Of course my beloved son, we are on the path of righteousness. And then Ali Akbar says, Oh my beloved father, if we are on the path of righteousness, whether we go towards death or death approaches us, it does not make any difference. And this is what Ali Akbar had demonstrated on the day of Ashura. Ali Akbar hastened towards Imam Hussein to become the first martyr from the family of Imam Hussein. Ali Akbar approaches when the companions are gone, because the companions were not allowing Imam Hussein to send his family and to send the children. They said, Mawla, oh our beloved Mawla, if as long as we are alive, none of your family, none from your Ahl al-Bayt can go and
fight. We would not allow that to happen. Our blood needs to be spilled. Therefore, Muslim ibn Awsaja gave his life. Habib ibn Mazahir gave his life. Hur ibn Yazid Riyahi gave his life. All the other companions were gone. And Ali Akbar approaches his father and says, "Oh my beloved father, please allow me to go into the battlefield." Imam Hussein raises his head towards the sky and calls upon Allah and says, "Allahumma, oh Allah, you be witness that now I am sending that young man who resembles the most in your prophet, in his actions and his word, in his every action that he undertakes. And when I would desire to see your prophet, I would look at Ali Akbar. Oh Ali Akbar, go and take the permission of your mother and your aunt Zainab Kubra." Ali Akbar enters into the tent and goes and asks, Layla, "Oh my beloved mother, give me permission so that I can go into the battlefield and sacrifice my soul for the sake of Islam, for the sake of my father, for the sake of the Hujjah of Allah, the testimony of Allah, the representative of Allah." Hazrat Layla says, "Oh Ali Akbar, go Ali Akbar." Then Ali Akbar goes to his aunt Zainab. Zainab Kubra had raised Ali Akbar, and Ali Akbar was very, very dear to Zainab because Ali Akbar resembled in Rasulullah, and it was Zainab who had raised Ali Akbar. And when he goes to Zainab and says, "Oh Aunt Zainab, please permit me so I can go into the battlefield and sacrifice myself," Hazrat Zainab Kubra would not allow Ali Akbar to do so until Ali Akbar says, "Oh my beloved Aunt Zainab, is it possible that your son Ali Akbar lives and the son of Fatima is martyred?" The moment Zainab hears this, she says, "Khuda Hafiz, O Ali Akbar, I bid farewell to you, O Ali Akbar. Go into the battlefield, O Ali Akbar, and protect the son of Zahra, O Ali Akbar." Ali Akbar comes. Imam Hussein puts the armor on Ali Akbar, and Ali Akbar is moving towards the battlefield, and Imam Hussein is walking behind him. Ali Akbar realizes that the Imam is coming towards him, turns around and he says, "Oh my beloved father, you had already given me the permission. Why are you coming behind me?" Imam Hussein looks at Ali Akbar and says, "Oh Ali Akbar, I wish that you would also have a son. You cannot comprehend the pain of an old father who is bidding farewell to his son, who is going into the mouth of death, who is going towards his martyrdom. Go Ali Akbar, may Allah protect you, Ali Akbar." Ali Akbar goes into the battlefield and fights like a brave fighter, just like Haidar Karrar, just like Bani Hashim, to the extent that Umar Saad commands his army to surround Ali Akbar. And the moment Imam sees Ali Akbar is in difficulty, the color of his face changes, and the servant who the Zainab would call Amma Fizza, she realizes that there is something going on and comes to Hazrat Zainab and says, "I have seen, oh beloved Zainab, the color of the face of Imam is changing. Ali Akbar is in hardship." And Hazrat Zainab and Layla raises their hand and they say, "Oh Allah, the one who had returned Yusuf when Yaqub called upon you, O Allah, make Ali Akbar return to us." My dear brothers and sisters, Ali Akbar comes back, and when he approaches Imam Hussein, he says to his father, "Oh my beloved father, the thirst is killing me, father. The heat of the armor is killing me, father. What can Imam Hussein do?" Imam Hussein is helpless here. Imam Hussein gives his ring to Ali Akbar and says, "Oh Ali Akbar, take this ring into your mouth. Maybe it would console you. But oh Ali Akbar, now your thirst is going to be quenched by Hawz-e Kausar, the water of the fountain of Kausar. With my grandfather, O Ali Akbar, go return and fight in the way of Allah, O Ali Akbar, until my grandfather receives you, O Ali Akbar." Ali Akbar goes into the battlefield. Ali Akbar, how long can Ali Akbar fight? But Ali Akbar's effort are that he would minimize the enemy as much as he can. My dear brothers and sisters, the time comes when Ali Akbar sends his salam to his father. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah. The moment Hussein hears the sound of the salam of Ali Akbar, Hussein comes into the battlefield, but Hussein has lost his vision and calling upon Ali Akbar, Aina Ali Akbar, oh Ali Akbar, where are you? Until Hussein finds Ali Akbar. How does Hussein find Ali Akbar? That a spear has pierced into the heart of Ali Akbar, and Ali Akbar is holding that spear, and Ali Akbar is still alive. Death would not come to him because he is struggling with death. Imam Hussein gets on the ground, rolls his sleeves and says, Ya Ali, and removes the spear from the heart of Ali Akbar, and a fountain of blood oozes out, and Ali Akbar passes away. But Hussein does not have the strength to take the body of Ali Akbar towards the tents of Ahl Haram. He calls upon the children of Bani Hashim. Oh, children of Bani Hashim, come and take Ali Akbar along with you, because an old father cannot raise the dead body of his young son. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. O Allah, with the martyrdom and the intercession of Ali Akbar, the beloved son of Imam Hussein, we ask upon you to fulfill the desires and hajat of all the mu'mineen who are present here tonight. O Allah, protect life, honor, property and dignity of believers wherever they are. O Allah, if the enemies of Islam are worthy of guidance, please guide them. Otherwise, destroy them and humiliate them. O Allah, cure those who are sick in our community. O Allah, forgive those who have passed away from our community. O Allah, hasten the reappearance of your Hujjah and make us such that your Hujjah would be pleased with us. Ya Hussein. 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 Ya Hussein.